Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Amakhosi. Nazareth Nabi got fired. There's many stories as to why he got fired. We're going to talk about them, and also we're going to talk about what I think about it, which is what you guys are here for. Or you're here for indaba. Nizele mina or indaba. We'll get to that. But before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's but it's a painful day. There were a lot of people who loved Nabi. I'm going to be honest about how I felt about Nabi. I didn't know much about Nabi before he came to Chiefs. I just knew about what he was doing at Tanzania, and then I also saw his good run in basically Algeria. But let me talk about what the reasons Abo Mazola said first before I chat about my views. Mazola came on and he said there's an idea that possibly his contract got terminated, mutual termination, because he doesn't have the right licenses to sit on the CAF Confederation's like head coaching role. That's one of the reasons. I think Lorenz Collier, he said Nabi mutual like separation because of his wife. He wants to go back to be with his wife, etc. So there's mixed stories in this thing. And then another one where I am going to mention, and I have to mention because this guy mentioned it a long time ago, that Nabi is going to get fired. And that's Innocent, Innocent, yeah, he's on Twitter, man. I don't want to butcher his surname, but yeah. The reason why I'm saying I don't want to butcher his surname is because I'm not looking at Twitter right now. I just know Kabazela, so I hope that's the surname. But yeah, what he said, very, very big, and he got bashed by a lot of fans, is that he said a lot of the Chiefs management already, they don't like Nabi. They don't feel Nabi is a good fit. So he said that there's two things are going to happen. Either Nabi won't start the season, or even if he starts, he won't even be the coach after the first half of the season. And that's what happened. Nabi is not our coach, didn't make it to the first half of the season. In the league, Nabi only got 6 games, and to be honest, Nabi has only played 3 games with us this season. Like, let's just be honest there. Nabi only got 3 games because the other 3 games he was in Tunisia. And he got fired. So what story do I believe? I feel management, meaning the people upstairs, someone in management wanted to give Nabi a chance, and they ran with it. A lot of people are saying it was Kaizer Senior because he brought back the glory days, but a lot of the people, they were not convinced because of how we finished last season. Last season we played about 15 games and we only won 2 games at some point. It was just a poor finish, and I think a lot of people had decided that Nabi is not good enough in management. But they kind of had to wait and see, because Nabi had an argument which was fair to him. And you know what Nabi's argument was? Nabi's argument was that you guys have not provided me the right kind of players. Nabi basically said, the players you guys have given me, the squad you guys have given me, is not a squad that can win us games. And we have to agree with him from that point of view. It's like unfair for us to expect Nabi to now all of a second Sunday be one of the greatest coach and fix people who generally were struggling to even play that soccer that we want. So the squad was a very big problem. But now that the season has started and we've seen the squad overhaul, I think a lot of the people have been expecting something different. And it didn't help that Nabi didn't start the season and he started in Tunisia. And when he was in Tunisia, his technical team was winning. But the moment he ended up back in the coaching seat, things just didn't go their way, because now Nabi's technical team result is this: 3-0. They won 3 games and they lost none. That was in the 3 games they played, they won 3 games. When Nabi arrived, we drew against Sundowns, we won against Arrows, and then now we've lost against Sekukun. So Nabi, ever since Nabi has arrived, out of a possible 9 points, we've only been able to get 4 points. And that is maybe part of the reason. I don't know. But let me talk about my view on Nabi. My view on Nabi is this, is that when he started, like I say, I didn't know much about him, but I saw that he was winning and stuff like that in Tanzania. But at the same time, I questioned the Tanzania league. I think one reason why one would ask, why do you question it? Fadlu Davids is shining in Tanzania, but we know what Fadlu Davids does when he's in South Africa. In South Africa, Fadlu Davids has been part of coaching a big team like Pirates. He struggled. He went to Maritzburg and all of these other teams, and he struggled. But for whatever reason in Tanzania, when he's coaching the biggest team, which is like coaching Sundowns, if I am coaching Sundowns, I can win the league. Trust me, I can win the league. All I have to do is do a team morale and say, Asladen Buffett, we play for one another. We play when I'm pass. That time I don't have tactics, but I'm saying, when I'm pass, man. Zwane, that's it. Then I pamper these guys to a point where they feel like Abu Messi, and then we win the league. And then they're like, Mandla is such a good coach. But I'm not. Never pamper because they're stars and we're better than the rest of the league. So that's what happened. I think what happened in Tanzania. Nabi also had one of the strong teams in Tanzania, which was Young Africans. Only rivaled by Simba. Now it's a bit different because Azam is trying to rival the other two as well. And there's another one. I forgot what it is. Mashinkit or something like that. But yeah, now that Nabi is... Then Nabi went, I think, to Morocco somewhere. And he finished second. But the thing is that you have to talk about these things with context. When Nabi finished second, he was leading these guys' season for the whole season, and he lost, I think, on the last 2 games or the last game of the... He lost basically the title, having led the league the whole season, and then he lost the cup final. So Nabi went to Morocco. He got a winning team. I want to make people understand. That team, I think, had won the league before Nabi joined. So Nabi took a winning team, and he failed to help that winning team win again. So there's that. So then Nabi came to South Africa. Now here's where I start. Meaning with it, I wasn't harsh on him on the Morocco thing. I was just happy that he continued to win, and then he came to South Africa. Problem number 1 with Nabi arriving here is this: we didn't have a good squad at all. Our squad was poor. Compared to what we have now, the squad we had when Nabi joined was just poor. That's why we finished outside of the top 10 the previous season before, a top 8 the previous season before Nabi came. We finished, I think, number 10. And yeah, so Nabi came and he had to fight with management to get players. And we know our management is not a buying management, management, because even this season, did they really buy a player? No. They just got free agents. And that is our management in a nutshell. So Nabi was in a Kaizer Chiefs team where he had to show his coaching ability. What do I mean coaching ability? At Young Africans, he had the best players in the league. He had the Sundowns. At AS FAR Rabat, he had the best players of that league. So what does that mean? It's easier to coach these teams. But when you come to a team that does not have the best players of the league, a team that is struggling to even be a top 8 team, it means that you have to do coaching. You have to coach the heck out of that team. And that's where I started seeing a difference in where Nabi struggles. Nabi is a very good coach to coach a team that already has star players, because there's one thing you need to know about Nabi. If you haven't picked it up already, Nabi needs star players, because Nabi plays on individual brilliance. His teams lack certain elements on the field that show teamwork. There's a lot of elements in Nabi's game that just needs a player who can use his head better than the rest. For example, look at all that. We've been attacking more than almost any team in the league. But are we scoring goals? No. So ask yourself, if we are one of the most attacking teams in the league, how is it that we are not scoring goals? If we are creating most of the chances, most of the better chances, if we have most of the better opportunities, how is it that we are not scoring? And it just boils down to the player you have at that moment. Because if you have a Flavio Silva that will cross the ball into the box, he has no box awareness and he headers the ball away from goal. He doesn't even header to the keeper. Problem number 1. If you have a Lilepo who is greedy in moments where he shouldn't be, There was a moment where Serino was free in the box. He just had to pass Serino. Serino takes a shot goal. He tries to dribble all these players. I don't know who told Lilepo that he's a star player and he must dribble all these players. But anyway. Then if you have him do Shabalala, young, wet behind the ears, is very good, but his finishing is just terrible. What I'm trying to say is that you do not have top quality finishers in your squad. But obviously, we're yet to see Kanisa Mayo, Igodaro, Luke Batman, which I want to see Luke Batman specifically. But that's where the individual brilliance comes. Even in midfield, Nabi has to play with Ox. But we know that Ox is not one of the best DMs. But when you ask him to do a task, that's what he will do. But you also need that DM to also understand the football elements when the time comes. Not because you can play Ox the way you play him, but you need to understand what Ox is. And that's what the thing that what I've been saying with Nabi's kind of play is relying Ox to do things that Ox is not naturally comfortable to do. If you are asking Ox to play, then honestly, I don't know what you expect of Ox. Ox can't do much of these things. And the other thing I wanted to say is this. Guti, I think a lot of you all know my first pick of coach has always been Pitso and then Nabi. Nabi being fired doesn't mean Pitso is coming. I'm going to make that very clear. Nabi being fired doesn't mean Pitso is coming. Would I like Pitso to come? Yes. The only problem with Pitso coming is this. Pitso always rolls with the technical team. So if you bring Pitso, he will most likely ask you to let go of these other guys because he doesn't want to train with people who have loyalty to Nabi. But I would bring Pitso and say this. Pitso, please take this technical team to the end of the season. Why? Because we've signed all of these technical team members with a 2-year contract with the option to renew. So can you use these guys to take us to the end of the season? And if you are still not happy with how they are performing, we can not renew their contracts and you can bring in your technical team members. Is that fair? Pitso, decide. I don't know. That's my decision on Pitso. But there's more incentive for the our technical team to keep Amakhosi and Abu Khalil. The only problem with keeping Amakhosi and Abu Khalil is that we don't know what they are about. We don't really know. We've seen when Nabi is not on the bench that we win, but we don't know if we can always give that credit to them. We're thinking we give the credit to them, but we don't know. That's the crazy part. We don't know good when Nabi is gone now, fully gone, which is happening. Do these guys have a different philosophy that Nabi has been holding them back from implementing? Are we going to see Chiefs playing a bit more differently under these guys? Or is their play going to be very similar to Nabi, but they just know how to do their tactics better? I don't know. We don't know what they look like. They are basically, we basically hoping something happens. But at this point, we don't know. That's why I'm saying it's a difficult one because you can either say, look, I'm going to bring in Pitso to work with the current squad because we think we have a good squad and we think Pitso can bring it up. Or you can say, let me carry on with these two because they've shown good ability to carry the team when Nabi hasn't been there. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Good luck to Nabi wherever he's going. Chiefs, please make the right decisions in terms of the code. Don't just go and bring someone else that has to now understand Chiefs. 2 choices. You continue with Nabi's technical team or you get Pitso. Those are the only 2 choices Kaizer Chiefs management must be thinking of. There's no other choice, Lab. There's no other choice. Continue with the technical team that we have now or go and get Pitso. This thing of trying to go and now find another foreign coach or trying to get another local coach, which local coach are you going to get? We don't want Tumanqoba Nciti. We don't want Steve Compel. We don't want these guys. Pitso, Nabi's technical team. Those are the only 2 options. Amakhosi.